In what ways does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? Poster. With my poster, I felt it was important to stick to as many conventions as I could, since I was creating something for the horror genre, a genre that has very important set conventions. Something they do a lot is use distortion with images and fonts. This creates a scary feeling as nothing looks calm or normal. So therefore, when I chose my main font that I would use throughout my products, I looked for something along these lines. My main image, when originally taken, didn't give off a particularly creepy vibe, so I used several effects and techniques in Photoshop to give it the look I wanted to achieve. For example, I made the image darker by changing the lighting settings, I placed burn marks around the image to emphasize the feeling of decay, and so that the text that was placed on the poster would show up more clearly than it did on the plain image. The person in the photo was also made to wear plain, dark clothes so that I could achieve a conventional mise-en-scène. From the posters I analysed before creating mine, I saw they all included the billing information for the film, the movie's website addresses, and the majority had a release date too, so I included these things on my poster. Another convention I discovered was the fact all film posters included a tagline somewhere on the page, so I included mine at the bottom and kept it in the same font as the film's title was in, so that a star was established. When it came to challenging conventions, I decided to present my main image in a way that others I looked at had not. I did this by making the image fill the entire page, whereas the others I had looked at had either had an image along the middle or split two images over the page. I did this because I felt it was appropriate to the film I was promoting. The image is a close-up of a girl's face looking distressed, staring at the camera. By making it take over the whole page, it would come across as more intrusive and therefore creepy, whilst also giving off the sense that it was directly addressing the audience. Another reason for the challenge of this convention was that by making it only fill the middle of the page, it left a lot of dead space, making my poster look quite amateur. So by filling the space with an interesting image, I didn't have to overcrowd it and take away from the simplistic look I was trying to achieve. For developing conventions, I decided to develop my main logo to be more than just a font, which is what everything I analysed did. It was a simple idea, but one that made my poster much more effective. My title was The Woods, so I incorporated an image of the tree into the T. However, this also included something that challenged conventions, as it was a drawing of a tree, not something stereotypically included within the horror genre, as they use realistic images rather than drawings, but I felt as it was part of the text it still worked with the genre and complemented its scary look. Trailer. When creating my trailer, I made sure I studied existing ones so that I could get a good idea of what features were conventional to the genre I was using. The first convention I came across and included was the fact they usually start with an equilibrium to set up the storyline of the film and entice the viewers. This then later leads on into the disequilibrium, but without letting us know exactly what it is. This style of storyline heavily backs up Todorow's narrative theory. I made sure to mimic this by beginning with friends laughing and going out on a camping trip together, to later lead into the problem. When the disequilibrium begins, trailers mostly begin to show a montage of scary, creepy and suspenseful shots, giving the audience a brief overview but without ruining the film. For this section to work, I made sure that all of my edits were fast-paced cuts between short clips of film. This is done so that the movie comes across as dramatic. Scary sounds, both non-diegetic and diegetic, are always included in the trailer to make it come across as a lot more frightening, which is an appealing convention of horror films. I therefore worked hard to make my soundtrack include various unnerving sounds and musical features to raise suspense. These included screams, rustling of leaves, heartbeats, and orchestral crashes. As trailers go on, the pace of the editing increases so that it reaches a climactic point where the audience become very submerged and want to see the rest of the film. I included this when creating mine as I want the viewers to enjoy the trailer and have the feeling of wanting to see more. For challenging conventions, I decided not to include any character dialogue, which is not something I found with the trailers I analysed. I did this because I felt, with the use of sound effects, suspenseful music and text slides, I created an atmosphere that better suited my trailer, as I wanted to leave a bigger area of mystery than perhaps some of the other trailers had. Another reason for this decision was that recording audio in the woodland was difficult to accomplish without getting any distracting background noise, which made it seem amateur. I also decided to develop conventions by including music that wasn't quite what you'd expect. My trailer started out with an acoustic guitar melody. I decided to use this because it created the equilibrium for the start of the trailer I wanted to achieve. Without this, the point where the disequilibrium is introduced is nowhere near as hard-hitting or effective. Website. For my website, I gathered information on professionally designed websites that had already been released. This gave me an insight into what I needed from a horror film's website. I looked at Blair Witch Project, The Uninvited, and Wolfman. These films belong to the genre and target market of 13 to 18 year olds, which is what I was aiming for, so this gave me the ability to discover what conventions were crucial in the creation of it. My first finding was that every single one of them had a video player that showed their film's trailers. I too included this with a scary border, so that it was in keeping with the page's style. As this was part of a complete cross-media package, I soon realised that a crucial element was to include the film's logo and tagline in a dominant place on the page, letting people know it's part of an entire promotional set. The font choice for all my products was Nightmare 5, a font that is conventional to the horror genre as it is damaged and has harsh or sharp edges, so it was therefore used for most things on the page. For the main image I used a picture of a female using a high-angle shot. This made her look vulnerable and powerless. It also gives the feeling that she is being swallowed by her surroundings, making the film's location more frightening. The final convention I included was all websites gave the option for viewers to share the website with people using many different social networking sites, for example, Facebook. This feature allows the film to be promoted at no extra cost, just purely from word of mouth, so I too included this along with the parental warning box that is also conventional to the genre, as it makes people want to defy authority and see the film. To challenge conventions, I decided to use my image differently to other websites I had seen. They all seemed to fill the page with an image, even if it was only a simple location shot for the background. However, I wanted to give the feeling of being trapped and alone, so I placed the image at the bottom right corner so that it was isolated from the rest of the page. This created a dramatic and spooky vibe for the page. When it came to development of conventions, I incorporated an image into my film's title. I felt this was necessary as it gave the page a unique look and supported the title, The Woods, well. How effective is the combination of your main product and ancillary texts? At the start of the project we were asked to create an entire promotional package. This therefore meant that every aspect of what I was making had to match with all the parts of my package. To do this I decided to use a consistent font called Nightmare 5 in my poster, website and trailer. This created a house style between the three of them, letting people know they were all about the same film. I also used the same main image for my poster and website and filmed a similar shot with the main character in the same clothes and position for the trailer. This reinforces the fact that it is one complete cross-media package. By doing this, the overall set began to give off a sense of narrative. By combining the main image and the snippets of film, the audience began to get a taste of what the film was about, and will want to see more, therefore go to watch the film. Another way I made an effective combination with my products was by creating a logo that was used on each of my creations. This meant that anything to do with my film was instantly recognisable because of the use of a unique looking logo. The location where the film was shot had also been consistent through my products. The scary woodland location is an integral part of my movie, so all products are shown in this area. Although a brief narrative outline has been presented to the audience, a lot of things are purposefully left out of the story, so that a feeling of mystery surrounds the film package. This further intrigues the audience into watching the movie. The final thing I did to tie all my products together was to include my film's institutional information throughout them, making them look more professional and legitimate, whilst giving people an insight into what the film's genre may be, due to their previous releases.